Hello everyone and welcome to this game of StarCraft that was found on reddit.com/r/castit. And we will see spawning here in the upper right hand position of the map, which is Yeonsu. It is going to be our red Zerg player, JustinClark.
Very nice, very nice.
And his opponent in the bottom left, spawning as the blue Protoss player, it is Arktos. I am Thaco, and I am joined by Crosby. How are you doing over there?
I'm doing quite well. How about yourself?
I am fantastic. I'm very excited to see how this game unfolds, especially on this brand new map in the ladder pool.
Yeah, it's very interesting how a lot of these new maps have come out, and it changes the meta so quickly. Some things don't change. Extractor trick for JustinClark here. It looks like he's trying to expand. This is a big enough map where we could probably get away with that. It's protected by the rocks there on the left side of the natural. So I'm very excited to see how that works out as the Zerg vs. Protoss opening in this particular instance.
Looks like that probe is just going to be, or drone is just going to be a scout right now for JustinClark. It's not going to expand quite yet. It is interesting to see how this will work out in the PvZ matchup, especially with all of those narrow choke points between every single base that the Zerg player can get hung up on.
That's true, that's true. On the other hand, though, it is quite easy for Zerg to take 3 bases. JustinClark just throwing down the natural now, you can see, at the 230 mark, and that's, you know, relatively standard, but that third is just so much easier to take because there's that one ramp in the middle and the one ramp on the side. That's easily defended. That
is very true. We do also see JustinClark grabbing that extractor actually very early here, which means he will get that 100 gas for his metabolic boost very early. And he can be very aggressive with those Zerglings in the early phases of the game.
Indeed, spawning pool going down allows him to get map control and put up that third. You know, the Protoss right now is walling in. He's not doing anything too exciting. The Cybernetics core just went down. He's got 2 gas and a lot of, oh, there's Chrono, but a lot of Chrono. So he's going pretty macro heavy right now.
Unfortunately, though, for the Protoss player, the Zerg player has seen all of this. He knows exactly what's going on. It's apparently because he's lagging.
I was going to say, you know, it's not too good for gameplay.
There's a pause there. That's why all the chat appeared at once.
See, here's me thinking they have like 1,000 words per minute, you know.
That would just be too impressive. The Protoss player, is he going to let that Zealot finish and just wall off completely there? He is not going to go for the move of canceling that to save the gas, or the minerals, which you see a lot of players doing. Also grabbing that Mothership core nice and early.
Well, the Mothership core, you know, he's seen the scout. He's seen that JustinClark's put on some pressure. He sees 2. He sees nothing actually, but he's seen the drone come in. He's seen the drone like funnel around, try and get information and try and delay it, which, you know, I can understand is, you know, signifying he's looking to do some aggressive pushes. So the Mothership core is just great to have.
And as promised, that metabolic boost is coming in nice and early. JustinClark completely pulling out of gas after that is done. He is looking to become very aggressive with these Lings in the early phases of this game.
Yep.
Rallying a couple of those drones at his natural. They're just sitting there for a little while, getting those to work finally.
It's always good. The expansion going down for Arktos. He's going to have a little bit of trouble, I think, defending these drones if they start coming down, or Zerglings if they start coming down anytime soon. This wall-off is not terribly solid, and that natural pretty much is going to go down if there's any significant number of Zerglings coming through.
There are enough places for those Zerglings to sneak around the units that Arktos does have at this point, and the Lings are actually on their way across the map right now. We see that there are 18 on the field for JustinClark.
Absolutely. This Nexus is either going to be canceled or lost, and I'm not even too sure about the integrity of this wall. He does have the Mothership core for the Time Warp, but, you know, that's a lot of Zerglings.
Well, if that Nexus does finish, he might actually be able to get the Photon Overcharge down onto that Nexus, and we'll be able to hold on to that. Looks like the Nexus will finish. A couple of the Zerglings run in. And with a Photon Overcharge and 2 Zealots, he might actually be able to hold the natural, but no.
Oh my.
They juke past the wall, and they're going to go into the main mineral line, but instead they're going to go straight for that Nexus.
Going for the Nexus. Interesting plan. A lot of Zerglings dying, not a whole lot of actual damage. None of the
Looks like we might lose the natural, though, especially with the Photon Overcharge already been having used up in the main. Mothership Core is essentially useless at this point. The Zealots are going to have to hold here. And that natural will fall, and JustinClark is just running rampant over the troops of Arktos.
Arktos at this point, though, you know, he hasn't sustained anything more than hull damage on the main Nexus. He's got 5 or 6. He's got 5 Zealots now and a Mothership Core. I mean, at this point, JustinClark has, you know, gained the upper hand in the sense that he's killed the natural. He's, you know, prevented the Protoss from moving out, but at this point, he's got not a whole lot of backup. He put down the evolution chambers, are halfway done. He's just getting his 3rd gas at the natural. He doesn't even have the 2nd one in the main. He's just getting his lair. He hasn't, I think, appropriately macroed behind this attack, and it's going to give Arktos a little bit of time to catch up.
And in reality, delaying that natural from Arktos was overambitious for the Protoss player at that point.
Yes.
He didn't quite have the units to defend it. It's not a significant, like, the minerals are a significant loss, but not having it's not a significant loss to him.
Yeah, and frankly, the fact that JustinClark didn't just straight go for the worker line probably has kept Arktos in this game for any stretch of time.
That is very true. That is very true. We do see JustinClark going for the ranged upgrades at his evolution chambers. That is a little unnerving because he doesn't have any buildings that can construct ranged units. Yep, just now grabbing that Hydralisk Den.
Throwing down the 3rd at this point. He's rather vulnerable at this point, I think. Arktos has a number of Zealots. He's just taking his expansion now, but honestly...
We also just saw 5 more gateways and two robos come onto the map. I think Arktos is going to move out at this point.
He has a lot of Zealots. He's just warped in 4 sentries. He could cause JustinClark a significant amount of pain if he just decided to walk with it. His Zerglings are too spread out of the map, blocking expansions, but at this point that's kind of useless because he knows Arktos can't expand barely to his natural, not much less a 3rd or a 4th.
But JustinClark will see any move out coming and can get the units he needs up because he has such wonderful Overlord positioning around the map.
That's true.
Nothing is going to catch him by surprise here.
That's true. The only thing I'm concerned about, though, is that Zerglings in small numbers are kind of just a joke.
Especially against those Zealots that will be the primary force of Arktos.
Exactly. And by spreading out his Zerglings, I think he's put himself in a very vulnerable position that Arktos has a good chance of exploiting in the next few minutes.
Well, if he doesn't move out soon, he's going to lose that window, though. First, some mortals are popping out momentarily. That might be the timing he's waiting for.
It has to be. JustinClark has now put down his 3rd. He's got drones mining minerals. He's got good creep spread connecting all the bases. He's got creep spread moving out across the map. Arktos needs to hit soon and hard, or else he's going to be in a very difficult position to recover from.
We've also seen the Roach Warren come down with that Gale Reconstitution upgrade on the way. The movement speed upgrade is on the way for the Hydralisks as well. His army is going to become very strong very soon if Arktos doesn't hit.
And if Arktos hits, he does need to hit this very soon. He's got 2 Immortals, he's got an Observer, and any small number of Roaches he's just going to rip through. He can't give JustinClark any more time, is really what it comes down to.
But now we see that natural and 3rd are fully saturated from JustinClark. His main is lacking some mining in it, but that's okay at this point. And we see the Spire is being thrown down.
He needs to put down the gases. There goes the gases. Yep. Perfect timing on the 3rd to make enough gas to make that Mula's transition, or even to just keep up the Roaches and the Hydralisks with upgrades.
That's very true. But we also see that Arktos does not have any good anti-mutas. He does not have the Stargates for those Phoenixes. He doesn't have the Twilight Council to go for that blink for his Stalkers.
He doesn't even have cannons.
I don't even think he has the Forge at this point. He does not have a Forge. He can't go cannons. Those Mutalisks, if they come in, will deal massive amounts of damage. What he has, though, is he has 4 Immortals on the map.
4 more Stalkers, 5 more Stalkers being warped in, and he's moving, and I think it's going to be close. It's going to be close.
If he engages with just the Roach Hydra, he will punch through that. The Roach Hydra cannot stand up to those Immortals, especially not if those force fields are perfect coming off those sentries.
Yep.
But he knows it's coming. The creep is going to get pushed back a little bit here.
He does not have a whole lot of Roaches. The Roaches are the big tank unit in this composition, and he just doesn't have them.
Well, that's actually not always true. In this composition, the Zerglings can hold the units back from the Hydras, and the Hydras can deal the damage. The Hydras are the DPS.
Yep. The Mothership Core, though, has the opportunity to throw down the Time Warp and just allow the...
That third was sacrificed. He did not have the units he needed to defend it yet.
I don't think he has enough units to, well...
There are 16 more Hydras popping momentarily. In that little choke point is not really where he wants to engage the Zerglings.
Backing out, backing out. He's got the Zealots behind all the Stalkers. That's a big problem. He needs those up front.
Those Immortals are too far out, but those force fields were good enough. They held back any of those troops.
Rocheborn's down.
JustinClark is now going to try to work from the high ground, though. He wants to take everything down that he can. And he's going to flank with this. This army is just stuck here now. This army cannot get out. The first Immortal should fall, and these Hydralisks are stuck.
The Hydra's trapped on the high ground here. Excellent force fields. He's going to get the natural. Oh, Transfuse just not fast enough. Drones getting not massacred by the force fields. That's an interesting place. Force field being replaced, but the drones can't get in. He's not killing as many of them as he would like. You know, Immortals are great, but you know, they can only kill one drone at a time.
That's very true, but there is a tiny wall in the force fields at the ramp. The first units do finally get out of there, and Arktos is forced to pull back for now. He has done significant damage, though, at this point.
He retains 3 Immortals, and if he can keep them alive up until he retreats and gets, well, he has no defense at the main. Oh my, he's got nothing.
There will also be a small run by a Zealots going up into the main of JustinClark. He has to pull Hydralisk back to deal with that. The Hydralisk den is being focused down. It might even fall.
Interesting. Moving on to the Spire, I think that's the better choice. Prevent any Mutalisk from entering the map because he has no anti-air and he knows it.
That's very true. So many Hydralisks not attacking right here too. Will the Spire fall?
Everything back.
The Spire barely holds.
It's impressive. JustinClark pulling everything back gives Arktos the time he needed to rebuild. He's throwing down 3 more gateways, and he really needs to start warping in units because he's got nothing. He has 2 Immortals, 3 Stalkers, 1 Sentry, and 6 Zealots, and that's not enough to hold off the, 20 or so Hydralisks barreling down on his natural.
In a small choke point with excellent force fields, though, it can work. He did do the damage he needed to do at that point in the game.
Did. The problem is there's only 1 Sentry with barely enough energy for a couple force fields, much less enough that he needs.
He's going to be able to get 1 force field off at this point.
Exactly.
That's true. That army can get surrounded very easily, but we see the Templar Archive is now being brought down, as well as 2 forges, finally getting those upgrades going. And there are just so many Zerglings being flooded out across the map here.
Absolutely. JustinClark sees he's got an opportunity. His 4th was not touched. It's fully saturated in mining. That's going to enable him to flood units, even though he doesn't have the greatest economy at the moment. He has all the larvae from the main and all the remaining from the natural and 3rd. And he's going to be able to, and he has flooded just an ungodly amount of Hydras, and he's just going to go say hi.
He will.
There's not much.
Very soon, though, those 2 bases will be done, and he will once again have a giant economy rolling, getting saturation back up at that natural. And he
3rd's up, no drones yet.
Is starting to bank up once again quite a large amount of minerals, getting unfortunately supply blocked right now, though.
It happens to the best of us. Another observer going through JustinClark's bases for Arktos. He knows Zerg is rebuilding. He knows he needs to make something happen. He's trying to put down his own 3rd. He's got cannons going up in the back. None in the mineral line of the main, but that's already mined out. None in the natural, which is probably more important. Luckily for him, though, I do not think there are any mutas in production or even on the field.
There are not at this point, and that will allow those Colossi that he is getting out onto the map to be very effective.
Oh.
Also, without any Corruptors on the field, those Colossi will deal massive amounts of damage. Especially with Psystorm coming down at the same time. He's getting that splash damage out that he needs to deal with that very low health Hydra army.
JustinClark making a serious mistake in not attacking as soon as he beat off that initial assault. He's allowing Arktos to get up exactly those Colossi, those Templar, that large splash damage that's so good against Hydras. The 3rd's going up 2 now. He's in a position to defend. He's got Colossi, he's got Templar.
But that first Colossi just wandering out across the map. Where is this thing going? It's going to get taken down very quickly by these Hydralisks. That first Colossi was not used to great effect.
No, and like he could have had it. He could have had it. He had good defense. He had 2 Colossi. That's enough to threaten just about any Zerg army away. He's got enough Colossi. He had enough High Templars.
But the army of JustinClark is barreling down here onto the 3rd base. It's going to be exposed for a minute before the army of Arktos
trying to swing around and capture it. He can't do it enough.
getting significant damage put onto that, though, pulling down that supply lead for the Zerg player.
More importantly, he saved his third. He tried to trap. He offered JustinClark the choice. He could either take the third and lose the army, or save the army and prevent or not take down the third. And I think it was a mistake to choose saving the army. He's got plenty of resources. He has plenty of bases for larva. He can afford those kind of trades as long as he got some of the Colossi and some of the Templar.
JustinClark is also injecting excellently, not having a lot of high energy queens, so he has had the larva production he needs this entire game to remax that army. Is he throwing down a second Spire? He is. He is going to go for a heavy air transition right now. Getting that +1 flyer upgrade on the way, the second Spire, so he can do that defensive armor upgrade at the same time, and even throwing down a 5th in the upper left of the screen.
That's impressive. I'm not sure if the air transition is right at this point. It's too time intensive. It's too costly in terms of time. Arktos has 3 Colossi and 5 High Templar. That's enough to wreck an army. He has a significant amount of Zealots to tank, and he's got the Mothership Core, who can throw down time warps and all that kind of good jazz. And he has a position where he can just walk into the Zerg base once again.
But JustinClark is sitting on 38 larvae. He has the larvae he needs to pull off a massive transition. He also has the resources.
He's got 3,100 gas. That is a lot of Mutalisks.
Yes, it is. That is going to be 30 Mutalisks, 31 just added to the production tab. And in such a Zealot-heavy composition, he is going to deal massive amounts of damage to that. Also, though, those huge storms landing, destroying everything in his ground army. There are 5 Hydralisks left on the field for JustinClark. He is pulling back, trying to get those Mutalisks out onto the map.
That was a sacrifice in order to free up supply for the Mutalisk transition, and I'm not sure if it's going to be successful.
Especially with them trickling out into the Stalkers like that. Those Stalkers can take care of the Mutalisks. We see that I think 2 have already died off, and he is not even going to engage the army. Is he just going to go for a base trade here?
I mean, it looks like it, and I think that's the sensible choice. He's got the Mutalisks. Mutalisks are an incredibly efficient base trading unit. And he's got more bases than Arktos. He's got more bases. He's got the right unit. I think it's the right move.
Well, he may have more bases, but Zerg never has more buildings than a Protoss or Terran player.
That's true.
So it's going to come down to who can get to the bases more efficiently, who can manage their time better, and those Zealots are going to just absolutely tear through those buildings.
Absolutely they are. He's got the 5th on the far left side. So that means he has more time to save the rest of the buildings and give himself more time for mules to go through.
Well, that's actually also an excellent question. That base is not known about by Arktos. Arktos will not ever attack it.
That's true. He has no scouting.
Making the interesting choice of leaving the extractors in the pylon at the 3rd base. Maybe not hoping that go all the way down to the base trade yet at this point. Maybe hoping that he can just deter Arktos and get him out of the game.
Arktos is retreating. No, he's moving towards the 3rd. He's taking down the 3rd. That's going to be over.
Both the natural and the main have fallen for JustinClark. Arktos is doing a good job pulling through his production, and JustinClark himself has just now gotten to that production line, and there are Phoenixes on the field. Those Mutalisks are going to have a very hard time dealing with those.
Arktos has got his observer over the 4th base of JustinClark. He knows it's there. He has to suspect there's more. The army's moving across the left side towards that upper corner. JustinClark's in a very serious position. There are some Phoenixes, and those are just going to be distracting as all get out.
Well, he has not yet taken down the Stargates. There they go. There will be no more Phoenixes, leaving us with, what is that? It's 5 on the field to his 35 mutas. He can handle those Phoenixes, especially because they do not have the range upgrade. But his primary 4 bases have fallen. His spawning pool has fallen once again. What is there left here?
He's only got the base in the top left-hand corner. The observer from Arktos has seen it. He knows it's there.
Do you know what there also is now?
A hidden 5th.
There is a hidden 5th in the middle of nowhere. That is going to save him at this time. And
it will depend on where the Phoenixes go. The Zealots are going south. Arktos is doing his due diligence. He's checking around the map. He sees it. The 6 is going down for JustinClark. But the Mutas are shredding the Protoss base. There's nothing left. There's only some extractors, 2 robo bays, a gateway in the side floor, and then all the extractors.
That's true. All the high health things have fallen for Arktos, but JustinClark is sitting on a single hatchery that is not completed yet.
Nope. almost saw it with the Phoenixes there. Arktos almost saw it.
Arktos is being revealed. JustinClark not quite yet. JustinClark just pausing there for a minute with his mutas, hoping that things will go differently.
Arktos has got to be a little confused here.
Did Arktos actually save any of his probes?
Yes,
he saved
there is
three of them.
Yes, there is one on the top left, just under the 6th base. There is one. There's a pylon in Justin Henry's natural,
JustinClark.
JustinClark's natural, and he has one. What was it? He has another one somewhere.
There are only 3 more pylons remaining. The forge has fallen. There are 3 assimilators and 3 pylons. This is a very, very small base count. Also, JustinClark does not have any more drones. He cannot, and the Phoenixes have engaged the mutas.
Oh!
But so many of the Phoenixes falling almost instantly.
That's it right there.
He's engaging the last extractors. Oh, these zealots are on a course to find that hatchery. Will they actually find it?
The Phoenixes see it.
The Phoenixes have found it. That has been discovered. And I actually do not know if JustinClark knows about that pylon. Those pylons that are up in his base. Will he engage those? He's actually making a beeline right for him. He knows about them. He has engaged the pylon. His hatchery is under attack, though. His hatchery is at 100 health. Oh, and JustinClark wins it. That is
too much damage from the mutants.
30 health remaining on that hatchery. That could not have been a closer game.
I don't think it could have. That was incredible. Arktos missed that expansion in the bottom left twice with those Phoenixes by the smallest amount, and he's got to be a little frustrated about that.
But, I mean, can you really blame him? What a random place to put a hatchery.
That's true. That's true. It was excellent placement by JustinClark, who's now saying GG.
His opponent has been out of this game for so long, and there's an interesting timing for that.
Yeah.
But that hatchery is also hidden by bushes on both sides.
That is true. That is true. He's no longer in the game.
Well, that wraps up that game. Could not have been more exciting. And I hope you will all join us for more games of StarCraft in the future.
It's always fun.
Thank you. Goodbye.